That's just Dean's craft routine. It looks cool, so it's fine.
Drive on the side of it.
Says the guy who's got this sat on a 3-point gimbal for.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so welcome to another Millennial Mindset. We are joined by Chris from the Modern Wisdom podcast, as well as very successful in a couple of his other businesses as well. So yeah, joined by Chris. Very excited to have you today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure to be here, man. Thank you. Nice to be on the other side of the mic for once.
Yes, amazing. And on camera.
Yeah.
So right, perfect. Not actually a catfish as well. So
well, I mean, the audience can judge for themselves.
No, yeah. If I was behind the mic all the time, that's what people think, won't they? We'll cut that out.
Keep it in, top.
Yeah, do you like that?
Yeah, keep it in.
I always say it, right? I always say that, we'll cut this bit out. And it's always me going, we'll cut this bit out. And it's just not cut out. So, perfect. Just wanted to kind of get in. Obviously, I've been watching what you've been doing with your podcast, going from strength to strength with that. Podcasts are kind of hot topic at the moment, especially you see the likes of Gary Vee talking about them and stuff like that. I refer back to him quite a lot because I think that he's kind of made getting into business and entrepreneurialism cool and interesting. It's something making hard work cool for once instead of just people thinking it's cool not to work hard. So there's just a couple of things that I kind of wanted to speak to you about and get your take on things. Obviously I've known you for a long time, trained with you, know that you've kind of got that fitness background as well, which is obviously something that's really important to both of us. It was just kind of from a business standpoint, obviously you'll have a routine and things, but what is it that you do as part of your routine to kind of getting in the right mindset? Because I've noticed with you a lot of mindset stuff comes out of what you're talking about, which I think is also a really hot topic at the moment. But for you, kind of, what is the routine that you have to get yourself into the kind of frame of mind that you can work hard and succeed in the things that you're wanting to, and what is that mindset, like what are you actually trying to get to? So how do you get there, and what do you think is that good mindset?
Good question. So fitness has always been something that I've relied on throughout the last 13 years, ever since I arrived at university. I was like a real small, skinny kid, always been athletic, played a lot of cricket, you can tell, very cultured obviously. Played a lot of cricket when I was younger, got to uni and was like, right, I want to be a big buff guy, so I started to train. And that's very fortunately been something that's always stayed with me. Yeah. I think if you are the sort of person who enjoys exercise, you should double down on your passion for that, because you are at an advantage ahead of everybody else. There is someone out there for whom going to the gym or going on a hike or getting the bike out, or you pick your sport, for whom that is like pulling teeth, and they hate it and they can't bear to do it. But if you have a passion in that, allow yourself to really take advantage, because that is your competitive advantage. They say that the best place to put your passion in life is what for you feels like play, that for everyone else feels like work. And that's a perfect place to look to get that competitive advantage. And even in just a lifestyle, it's like there are kids out there who are lean as hell, fit as hell. We all know people that do CrossFit or whatever it might be that are just animals, and they don't think twice about doing double sessions 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Like even for me, I'm like, oh my god. Like just going back into the gym after I've binned myself once during that day is hard. So that's kind of how I'd frame the fitness side of things. You're right, routine and mindset, we all repeatedly do, right? Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. For me, my morning is the most important part of my day. So if I win the morning, I win the day, almost all the time. I also have had periods, depressive periods in my life, and those are also marked by me not winning the morning. So it's so influential, it's such an important crux of what I do. So for me, upon waking, I'll make sure that I get into mind, into body and into spirit. So I'll tend to go for a walk. I won't have any caffeine within the first 90 minutes of the day. You don't need to. A glass of salt and lemon water is more than enough. I'll journal, do some gratitude exercises. I found that's been incredibly successful over the last few years for me. I know it's all wishy-washy, and there'll be people that are listening that are like, oh yeah, I've seen that online, or I've been targeted with an ad. It's like, Susanna Hallinan, who's one of the leading positive psychologists on the planet, said to me on the podcast, if you are not practicing gratitude, you are reducing the top end amount of happiness you can get. So the amount of happiness you have in your life is directly proportional to how much gratitude you do. So if you're not practicing formal gratitude, you're literally limiting how happy your life can be.
And how would you kind of go about that? What's the steps for practicing that gratitude?
So for me, I use a 6-minute diary, which is available on Amazon. Just search 6-minute diary. It's about 20 quid. It'll last 5 or 6 months, and it's just a great investment. It's formalised on a morning: 3 things you're grateful for, how am I going to make today great, and 1 positive affirmation. And then in the evening, there's a bunch of questions that you do as well, and it literally does take 6 minutes. So there's no reason not to. I think a lot of the time people will ask that question. It's like, I'd love to do some gratitude, but I don't know what to do. It's like, spend 20 quid. You'll drop that easily on a round of drinks in a pub, and it'll last you 5 months. Yeah. So go and buy that now. Pick whatever your flavour is, but that's what I'd go for. So that's mind, in terms of making sure that I'm thinking right, making sure that I've got myself in the right headspace. Body used to be ROMWOD. I'm currently suffering with an injury, which you'll see in our training later on. So ROMWOD's actually been pushed to one side now. My get into the body for me is go for a walk, around about 10 minutes, taking in the air, kind of just looking around, not like letting the thoughts and stuff dissipate. And I'm actually doing the State app, which is breathing exercises by a guy called Brian McKenzie, who I had on the podcast. But you could do Wim Hof, you could do holotropic stuff, you could do whatever you want. But I find that some breathing exercises on a morning is really, really incredible. I loved ROMWOD, and I still do. And for anyone who wants to get into a passive mobility routine on a morning, ROMWOD is like, it's amazing. It's just that at the moment with my physiology, I can't get into it. Yeah. But get into the body. So I've got mind, I've got body, and then spirit, some meditation. So, again, I get a lot of messages online saying, I've been looking at Calm and Sam Harris's Waking Up and Headspace, like which one of them's best? I'm like, man, like if you've never done meditation before, it's like saying, should I be doing a push-pull leg split or a 5-day like turnover on bodybuilding? Like if you just go to the gym 5 days a week, you will see mad gains. Yeah. It's precisely the same. So pick whichever app you like the most. Yeah. Personally, Headspace was good for me because it's got good accountability and there's like streaks and badges and stuff. But Sam Harris's app's mental, like so good. There's all these lessons and extra things, and you can literally email support@wakingup.com, I think, and say, hi, I can't afford your app, and they'll give you the app for free, which is crazy because he doesn't want money to be the reason people can't do the app. So anyway, meditation, I'm doing unguided at the moment through Shinzen Young. Do that. Read, which is, I guess, kind of getting back into the mind. I'll read for about 20 minutes, and that's it. I'm away for my day. And if I've done that, if I do those things on the morning and I follow that process, like the rest of the day just falls in front of me, because you've started off with real intention. You've got your head in the right place, and the rest of the day just kind of crumbles in front of you.
I think a lot of people, the issue that people see with that is the kind of, and this is something that everyone should take on board, that the time that you spend doing that, the 90 minutes or however long it takes you, people will think, well, I don't have time for that because I've got other things on during the day. But when I've found that I've kind of got up and trained and got myself into a good mindset, for me it's kind of getting up and having water and having warm water in the morning, and my routine's making sure that I train every day and move and stuff like that. People say they don't have time for that, but honestly, doing that makes you so much more productive. What would have taken you 10 hours takes you 5. So it's like you save that time later on because you're in a good mindset to get in and absolutely smash it. So I find that when people have that kind of, but that takes up too much time, then I've got X amount of stuff to do, you're just so much more productive that now whatever your tasks were for the day, you can do in half the time. Yeah. And I think that's such an amazing thing that people don't realise until they start doing it. Perfect. I need to definitely get on something like that because.
So one thing that I'd like to add there, actually, Ryan Holiday's got this great article. If you search Ryan Holiday routines, it'll come up. And what he talks about is we don't need a routine, we need routines. The point is, a lot of people, myself included until I read this article, had one rigid routine, and if I didn't get that, my day's fucked. Like those, you hear about these football players, I think it was Paul Ince, used to always touch the top of the tunnel as he walked out, or you've got a player who puts left sock, right boot, left boot on, and if he doesn't do this crazy thing, then the game's fucked.
Yeah.
You don't want that to be the situation, because that actually makes the routine almost a little bit of a weakness.
Yeah.
So what you need to have is routines, and what that means is you will have maybe, let's say across your whole life, 5 common situations. Alex at home with loads of time, Alex at home with barely any time, Alex in a hotel away abroad, Alex at his bird's house, but you know what I mean, blah blah blah, whatever it might be, pick your poison. It's like, right, okay, I will have a routine for each of them. So even if, let's say I've got a photo shoot in Manchester where the call time's 9 a.m, so I need to set off at 6 a.m, which means I need to get up at like 5:30.
You're not going to get up at 4 to do that.
I'm not going to do my full routine, but I can have my like fully shortened down routine, because I need to sit and have a glass of water. I'm not going to get up like out of bed with my pajamas on and roll into the car. Sit down, I'll do my gratitude, which I know takes about 3 or 4 minutes. I'll do 2 minutes of meditation, and I'll read a book for a minute, like a page of a book, and it's like a 7-minute, 8-minute morning routine, but it's just tick. I've won the morning. It's like evening up against all of the shit I've got to do today. It's like, fuck you, like I started my day,
Yeah.
I'm in control.
Yeah.
You don't control me, I control you.
Yeah.
So, you know, someone that says that they don't have the time, you don't need to do the full, like, working from home entrepreneur wanker version that I have.
Yeah.
Like, you can just come up with the, like, you know, people have got kids to get to school before they go to work.
Yeah.
Like, it's all well and good for me and you as fitpreneurs saying, well, you know, I'll roll into work a bit later and just go till 9 p.m. because I've got fuck all else to do.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all well and good, but just pick whatever your poison is and do it, and then on the days when you have time, allow yourself to indulge.
Allow yourself to do a bit more.
Yeah.
I think as well, one thing that I've kind of started to do is to change if something's not working for me, rather than kind of listen to someone who says you have to get up at 5 o'clock every day. If I'm feeling particularly more tired, for me in the winter, I prefer to get up at around 7, and then I prefer to do a bit of work on the night time. So when I've got paperwork and stuff to do, I'll do it kind of 10 till 12 because nobody disrupts me during that time, and I don't mind doing it. I feel quite productive at that time at night. But then in the summer, I don't mind getting up earlier and doing stuff earlier. I don't mind getting up at like between 5:30 and 6 and doing stuff then, because it's lighter, and then I can spend a bit more time in the sun on a night time. So I think whatever your routine is, don't be afraid to kind of play with it as well. And just because you see somebody who says you have to get up at 5 o'clock every single day, and that's what works for them, doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. So yeah, finding your routine, I think, is definitely important. So in terms of you with the podcast now, so you've had that for 2 years now. In terms of building a following, what do you think your kind of main things have been for building up that kind of loyal, like almost cult following? Because I think that's really important when you're trying to build something, is to have those core people who are really bought into it. What have you done to kind of build them up, and what do you continue to do?
Good question again. So the beautiful thing that I like about podcasts is that you can't game the system. There's no virality. We've all watched a video that you look at on YouTube and you're like, why has that got 15 million plays? Like, it's just total shit. It's like, like, you know, just something really weird. I watched this video of a guy who fucked up on a guitar, and it had like 5 million views. I was like, why? So the point is that podcasts are completely stripped back, so you can't game the system, and there's something really kind of virtuous about that, which I quite like. As with everything, whether you want to start to become a blogger, whether you want to start to become a YouTuber, podcaster, writer, you know, pick your domain, consistency is an important part of it, because you want to become a part of your audience's life. That's the reason that I publish every Monday and every Thursday. So it means that every single Monday, if you're subscribed to Modern Wisdom, you know that you've got a new episode. Every Thursday, sometimes I miss Thursdays if I'm away, but every single week you will get at least one, most times 2 episodes. And if you're not going to get 2, you'll be warned about it, and there's interaction between me and the audience. Like, that's why it means that you become a part of their week.
Yeah.
And people wake up on a Monday morning excited to listen to your content.
Yeah.
It's like, no, especially in the world of YouTube and podcasts and blogs and articles, look at anyone who's amazing. James Clear, nearly 1 million newsletter subs. every Thursday he does his 3-2-1, or David Perel does Monday musings, or whoever it is, the best guys on the planet. One reason it's good for is it puts you in the audience's life. We live by routines. Everyone goes to work on a Monday, everyone has a Sunday to chill, etc., etc. The second thing is it makes you accountable to yourself and the audience. So the number of times where I've been like on a Sunday night and me and Video Guy Dean will be back and forth about what episode we're going to release the next day, and I'm just knackered. It's the end of the week, I'm like, oh my god. And I've got whatever episode recorded, but I've got to do the show notes, and I've got to record the intro, and I've got to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, if I don't put this up, I'm going to get a ton of messages saying, where's the fucking episode?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to like break this chain of loyalty and reliability that I've built with my audience. So, commit to a schedule. And that schedule can be monthly, but commit to a schedule. If you're going to release a YouTube video, you're going to write an article or release a newsletter, whatever it is, commit to your schedule, makes you accountable to yourself and to the audience. So that's been good. In terms of the specifics for the podcast, I've tried to stick to high profile, high value guests. I've been very fortunate. I managed to get Aubrey Marcus, who's one of the biggest podcasters on the planet, on more New York Times bestsellers than I can count. Literally the biggest guests, like my dream guests, and I continue to get them. Ben Greenfield's coming on. He's like huge time. I've had Andrew Doyle on 6 months before he was on Joe Rogan. Zuby on 1 week after he was on Joe Rogan. Like, focusing on high value content, for me personally, is the way to break through the noise. So you can create signal through noise by focusing on the highest value adding content that you can create. And that's because people will naturally seek out what is the best, especially when you think about long form audio content. Like, you're basically like a god in someone's ear. Like, especially with AirPods now, they're just walking around, they're not connected to anything, and they're just completely immersed. You got the AirPod Pros, like there's no sound, the world doesn't exist, all that exists is you and this person. So you're like, right, well, if this person's going to dedicate an hour of their time to me, I better make sure that this is the best hour of their day, like that it's worthwhile. And the thing as well is, YouTube subscribers are a little bit less, but think about how many people you follow on Instagram. Like, I've cut mine back a ton, and I follow like 700 people. On Twitter, I follow 90 people, but on podcasts, I'm subscribed to 10. Because I want to subscribe to just the best 10. You can't subscribe to 100 podcasts. Like, you can't, there's not enough hours in the week to consume the content. So, again, with that, I think, and this is interesting because Instagram have removed the likes filter now, right? For some people, it's just Alex and a few others or whatever it is like a photo. And I think that all platforms are now moving toward this quality of content rather than quantity of content model. And I think that we're seeing that reflected now in the platforms. And what does that say? It says that everyone has realized that putting out quality content will always win. There's no one out there that I know that puts out amazing content consistently that isn't at the top of their game. There's people who I think, fucking hell, that should be worth more plays than it is, or that's worth more renown or popularity than it is. But my dad's got this saying, which is that form is temporary, class is permanent. It's like, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, if you're there, I always talk about the whole being in the right place at the right time thing. People talk about that, and I think that it's just totally, I think that's wrong. I think you need to be in the right place every time, and then one time that's going to be the right time. If your game plan is to be in the right place at the right time, you're limiting yourself massively because you're just hoping that when you get there, it's going to be the right time. Like you said there, with the form being, like staying on form, if you are just consistently putting out the right stuff day in, day out, weekly, whatever it might be, eventually it's going to be in that right place at the right time, but you've got to be consistent with it. And I think that that rings true with obviously what you've done and putting things out twice a week. I know with doing the YouTube videos, like there's a lot more time goes into it. Even the logistics of it must be difficult getting people. Like the people that you're getting on are going to be busy people. Like matching that up with when you're free and stuff. It's an
arduous process, man. And the audience don't necessarily need to know that, but you can signal with that stuff as well. Like why are people bothered about Instagram stories? It's because they want to see behind the scenes of someone's life. They follow fucking Kendall Jenner, who's got this amazing polished life, but they want to see her in a cab on the way to like the airport.
Yeah.
It's because they want to know, they want to humanize these people that they look up to, and the same thing you can afford to do with everything that you do. Like, I don't think that it's bad to signal about how much work goes into the content that you put out. It's like, say to your audience, say that you're working really fucking hard, like, because it's worthwhile, the same as you. You know, you've just got yourself this new office in Gateshead. You and Aaron like trying to find different people, constantly recording YouTube stuff. Oh well, we'll film this B-roll as we go over this the bridge and stuff. Check into that later on. And you know, like all of this different stuff, like that's hard work. That's real hard fucking work. Like, there's no big production company here. It's you grinding and Aaron doing the edit, and you know, oh, well, should we put this in? What track should we do? Let's source some more B-roll, blah blah. Like, it's fucking tough going. So say to the audience, you know, like, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the content that your favorite content creators make. Then support them, press share. Like, I'll gas any of the people that I've ever been on a podcast with. David Perel, one of my best mates now from New York, who I podcasted with last year, just released this new course, and I was like, man, give me every link that you've got, and I'm just doing endless swipe ups for him because I'm like, this is awesome, and respect what you do. I know how hard you work, and I want to support you as a fellow content creator, and I'm not doing it because I expect him to support me back, although I'm sure that he would if I asked him to. It's like, and this is how we all grow, right? Like, networks are one of the few things that don't divide when you share them, like they multiply.
Guys, save that.
Knowledge bomb.
That is,
Link in show notes below.
Is that an original quote? Is that?
So happiness. The original quote is, happiness is the one thing which doesn't which doesn't divide when you share it. But networks actually work even better, and it's true, right? So perfect example. Mike Hughes sends me John Assaraf, guy that was in The Secret, guy that wrote Inner Size, and I podcasted with him last night. Like, he doesn't need to, but we're just buddies. Like, why wouldn't he? Kamal Ravikant, Naval's brother, I introduce him, he gives me James Altuch shit. Like, you know, it's just because we're all good mates, and that's what you do. And increasingly as well, like, because I'm swimming in waters now with people who are far more, like, well-known and talented and like, well-regarded than I am, but I'm seeing how normal these people are. You know, like New York Times best-selling, Robert Greene, like 48 Laws of Power, Laws of Human Nature, Mastery, like all that stuff. And he's just a normal dude. And I'll email him and say, hey man, like, how's your Christmas? What's going on? And he'll just say how life is. So like, if that's the model that those people operate with, on a smaller scale, you can link up with local content creators. If you're a fit pro and you're living in a city, let's say you're living in anywhere, there is someone else in that city who is in the same field as you. Like, link up with them, send them a DM. So many of the best people that I've made friends with are just people that I've DM'd out of the blue, or they've DM'd me. And you're like, fuck, now I've got a new friend.
No, I'm the same. Like, when I speak to people and then you actually get in and speak to them, and it's just so good being able to kind of meet up with like-minded people, and I think that more people need to reach out, especially in the Northeast. I've said this a million times. It's difficult for people to want to link up because for some reason people think that if somebody else is doing well, it takes away from their ability to do well, and I think the Northeast's particularly bad for that because people assume
small
that
town mentality.
It's like, if I support him, he might do something with his life. Oh, that's not great for me but that doesn't take away from what you're doing with your life. If anything, it's better if they do something good and you guys have done something together. Then you can kind of, they might, like you said, introduce you to someone else. It's just supporting people in the area who are doing other things, offering to do stuff for them. For nothing. I speak to loads of fitness professionals who are actually in the industry, and they'll message me stuff like, I think it's because I don't PT as much anymore, that they feel more comfortable messaging me stuff, and I just go out my way to send them stuff back, like, even though it's not gonna, it does not, like, essentially I'm not getting any money for it, but that's absolutely fine, because if they get an extra couple of clients because of it, when they speak to people, they're gonna say, if someone's speaking about doing a PT course, they're gonna send them to me, and even if they don't, it doesn't really matter.
Well, the other thing as well is like, you've hit on something that's really important, so I want to sit on that topic for a little bit, right? So, increasingly now, we have transactional relationships in life, what can I get out of this person? Why do I want to be friends with this person? What are you going to do for me if I'm going to do something for you? And I think it's the wrong way to look at life. I get why people do it, because we have scarcity of time, and there is a degree of a zero-sum game that's going on, especially in small towns. You know, anyone that's not in London, that's in the UK, even, you know, Birmingham, Manchester, 2.4, 2.5 million people, big city. But, you know, like if that PT client goes to that guy, they're not coming to you. That is the bottom line.
Yeah.
So I can see why people feel that way. But especially when you're talking about being on the internet, it costs you nothing to gas someone else up and to give them some support, right? Like I did this tweet the other day that was like, it amazes me how many people will share Rihanna Puma collaboration video but won't like their friend's new business on Facebook. And you're like, fucking gas your friends up. Like, don't be, and even if it's just someone that you've met, like send them a message and say, hey man, like, I see what you're doing. I think it's really worthwhile. And that, the same as anything else that we do in life, that's a muscle that you've got to build. You know, we're going to go train later on. Like, you need to build that kinship muscle, that kind of, that altruism muscle, that networking muscle. Like, what does it feel like? And here's a good heuristic that people can use, and it's one that I try and use as well. Instead of just seeing something that someone's put up and going, oh, that's cool, and scrolling past it, I'll just immediately click on the profile and send them a message and say, hey man, I really like this, like, good work, congratulations. Like, that message, I'm not going to get nothing back. Like, it's not me saying, give me a free pass to your new gym, or give me a whatever. It's like, I just want to make that person feel good, because they deserve to feel good. So even ahead of all of the other extra benefits that you might get, where someone will be like, oh well, I'll send someone to Alex because he helped me with this particular thing. Like, all of that will happen. But even at the central core of it, it's like, just be a fucking good guy or girl. Like, be a nice person who gasses everyone else up, and you will end up benefiting eventually.
100%. Another thing that I noticed, and something that I've, over the past couple of years, really tried to double down on and do a lot, is if somebody is bringing something out, a friend, or if someone brings out some t-shirts, I will literally just jump on and buy it. I'll jump on and buy a t-shirt, I'll go and get my hair cut there, it's my friends, I've got a barber shop. I'll do those things. If someone sets up a new clothing line, I'll jump on, they set it out, I'll jump on and buy it. Yeah, you can message them and say, oh, chuck me a free one, and I'll wear it. But like, wear it and then take a picture anyway. Do you know what I mean? I've done that for a couple of people, and I bought a t-shirt from one of my friends. I put it on, he put it on, says, I've got some t-shirts left in stock, really good, blah blah blah. I went on and bought one, and he sent me 3. You'll know who it is when he sees it, but I could have just, I would never think to just message him. People do, when their friends are like bringing something out, they'll be like, oh, I don't know if I should go because it might not be that good, or I don't know if I'll buy one because it might not be that good quality, or they're my mate, they should give me one for free. If you like support them and then they blow up and do well from it, they're going to give you more free stuff. Don't think of it like that, but if their company, if they eventually take off, Gymshark for example, do you not think they're gonna like, you won't even be able to pay them for their stuff because they'll just be like, nah, just have it. I was speaking to we had Leon Scott who you'll know, and he did some stuff for a clothing company when it first started, did some modelling work for them, and now they send him stuff all the time because they've done really well from it. And it's not like, obviously you're not doing it for that specific reason, but it just shows that if you invest in the people around you, like, you wouldn't think twice about spending 4 times as much on something designer most of the time, but then your friend brings something out and it's like, just support them.
Especially, there might be a lot of people from the UK that are listening, and there's this big small town mentality in the UK which I really detest. I absolutely hate it, man. Like, it's so bad. Like, if you want to have upward mobility in your life and you want to feel like you have agency, help other people feel like they've got that as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's my least favourite thing about being in the UK. I don't know whether it's because we're waterlocked, I don't know whether it's because it's a small country, I don't know whether because the north is predominantly working class and still is kind of getting out of that slow kind of lack of upwards mobility mindset. But It really, really hurts me when I see someone bringing something out that doesn't get any support by people.
I think I know why it is. I think it's because do you know why it's so easy to support an American singer? Why it's easy to buy the Weeknd's album from Canada, but then your friend brings out some music and you just don't support it at all. It's because if your friend does well and is successful and they're from the exact same demographic as you, there's no excuse you can give yourself for why you didn't do it. It's so easy to go, but they're in America, but it must be different for them because of this or that or the other. But if it's someone that you sat next to in school, whose parents are from the same working class background or whatever it may be, you literally are going to have to go home. When you're by yourself, you won't be able to escape the fact that you could have done that.
That could have been you.
That could have been you. There was literally nothing to differentiate you and them. You just didn't put the work in. And I think that is the main reason that people don't do it.
Well, the perfect way to transcend this problem is to just gas everyone up, man. Like, it is.
It'll gas you back.
Tell them that they've done good, and it'll really help. I'm sure about it.
I tell Aaron he's sick every day, and now he's got a skin fade, he's getting his teeth done. Do you know what I mean?
Still a shit house, isn't it?
Absolute shit house. He's gonna cut that.
Yeah.
He's gonna cut that bit. This is what he does. He'll cut that bit out. Yeah. He makes himself.
He cuts the bits that makes him look cool, and he puts in the bits that make you look like a dickhead.
Yes, which isn't too hard, to be fair.
Got even the scales.
Yeah, that's it. What an absolute whopper. Okay, so do you know what? That was probably the best one that we've ever done because I had like 5 questions, but you literally answered them all like just while you were talking because it was like, obviously you're good at this. So like the questions that I had like lined up, you're like answering them with the fitness and stuff.
Do you want anything else? Do you want to do any more bits to finish off?
What do you? Well, everything I had was thingy, but if there's anything else that you can think of from, we want to learn from you here. So in terms
of...
You're ready,
Aaron. You're ready.
You're ready for this?
Sure.
This must be hard for you. What you sat behind there with you 3 points.
I'll jump in, man. I'll pull the feet.
Just sit there, looking good. So yeah, obviously, a lot of times you met with, in business and with doing what you're doing, you met with kind of adversity and you met with setbacks. What is it that you do to overcome those, and what kind of, do you have a routine for that as well? Because I know that's obviously been there.
It's challenging, man. You know, I'm not going to pretend like I've got it all deployed so that I'm bulletproof. Like, I know the best ways to operate. I'm pretty certain I've got it figured out of how to operate. There's a big difference between being able to say how to do it and being able to do it. The problem with our conscious experience is that it feels overwhelming. So it's all well and good me saying to the people that are listening, get up on a morning, these are some of the things that you should do, get into your mind, get into your body, get into your spirit, consistently have a routine, do the things that make you feel good, look after your health, look after your wealth, look after your happiness, look after your family, all this sort of stuff. But your day-to-day visceral experience of life is very different. Like, it's so overwhelming and chaotic, and you feel bitter and resentful and scared and anxious and all of these things, right? And that is because we are not machines. We're very, very complex, conscious organisms, and setbacks are no different. So a setback is perceived as a threat by your body. You have this threat response, you have this fear response. The first thing, to try and give some heuristics, the first thing that you can do, which will make the biggest difference when you have any sort of anxious or threat response to anything, this could be there's a fight going on in front of you that you feel scared about, you've just got a piece of bad news, or it could be something more long term. I have a concern about where my finances are going. It's a Take 6 exercise from a guy called John Assaraf that I podcasted with last night. Take 6 breaths, in through the nose as slow as you can and out through the mouth as if you're breathing through a straw. And what it does, it'll switch off the amygdala, which is at the back of the brain, and it'll take everything forward to the front left side, which is your thinking, problem solving, the Einstein brain. And if you do that, if you take that big breath in through the nose and out through the mouth real slow, it'll take about 60 seconds, maybe a bit longer, the difference is so drastic, and you can do it with everything. So, you know, that's something that you can do. More long term, how do you deal with setbacks in life? There's a lot of challenges that people are going to come up against, and there isn't a one size fits all problem for it. the best thing that I can say to do is to continue to think about where are you going, what is the reason that you should transcend the challenge that you've got in life. Like, are you interested in what you're doing, or are you committed to what you're doing? If you're interested, you're going to end up just failing at the first hurdle. Oh, my diet's hard today, I'm not that bothered. I'm interested in being lean, I'm not committed to being lean.
Yeah.
I'm interested to being fit, I'm not committed to being fit. So, like, first off, connect with your reasons for doing something. Remind yourself of all of the good stuff that you've done. There is a setback in life, right? Okay. There's this Naval Ravikant quote, again, another thing I tweeted not so long ago. It's kind of a bit existential, but I'll drop it in any case. So, you're born alone, you'll die alone. All of your experiences are alone, all of your consciousness is alone. 25 years before you arrive, no one cared. 50 years after you're dead, no one cares. Life is a single player game. So the point is that while you are here on this planet, all that you have is this conscious experience from the day that you're born until the day that you die, and you don't know when this is going to be. This could be fucking tomorrow. You literally, all three of us in this room would be very unlikely and really unfortunate because this video won't go out. But you'll know that we're not dead because this video will be published if we didn't die tomorrow. You don't know when you're going to die, so fucking hell, like, don't take life so seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I know it feels like it's a big deal and shit, like I am patient zero for the overthinking, overconscious, over-introspective person who reflects on his experiences. But it isn't that serious. Life is not that serious, and it will be fine. Everything will be fine in the end, right? So, like, remember that. Take your breaths, take some time, and it's just a problem. It's the same as anything in front of you. It's the same as someone saying, hey man, like, here's a crossword puzzle. It's like, right, okay, I'm going to engage my brain and I'm going to look at all of the different clues, all of my experience, and I'm gonna like lean into this.
Yeah.
And some days you don't feel like leaning into discomfort. Okay, so do what you can do. Like, the best way to get over a setback is to do the tiniest little step that you can that makes you think, right, oh, fuck, I couldn't even go out of the house today. Some people with like agoraphobia, I think it's called, can't even bear to leave the house, or real social anxiety, can't bear to go to a party. Right, can you bear to put your foot on the step of your front door? Right, okay, I think I can do that. Open the door, put my foot on the step of that. Right, there you go. There's your victory for today. Remember what we said, like, fuck you, I control life.
Yeah.
Life happens for me, not life happens to me. Like, I am in control of what goes on, and you are. Even when you don't think that you are in control of everything that goes on. So what can I do? What is the tiniest little step that I can take? And that's that. And Aaron had asked about how do you make the change towards good habits and away from bad habits. And there's a lot of people who maybe have never even stepped into this world of personal development, routines, sort of optimization and stuff like that. And if there's someone that's listening that's thinking that, then, you know, take the basics. Everything that you need, all of the wisdom that you require in life, especially with the advent of the internet, is available online. Find someone that you resonate with. Might be me, might be Alex, might be Aubrey Marcus, might be James Altucher, might be Gary Vee, or whatever. Don't listen to Gary Vee that much. But sorry, Gary. Find the person that you like and sink into what they suggest. You know, you've got a routine that we've already given you this morning. Get up on a morning and do something that's mind, body, spirit. Make sure that you're training every day. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Have a stable sleep and wake cycle. Spend time with people that you care about and that care for you as well, and try and become 1% better each day in those areas. Like, it's not rocket science. The problem is compliance, and the problem is knowing what to do. So go and find what works for you and just sink into it. Slowly become better over time. Like, for me, the reason that I wanted to change was that I realized I wasn't being very true to who I was. Like, I was living this club promoter, big dick around town, Love Island lifestyle thing, which was cool or whatever, but it's that transactional relationship again, right? Like, it's not fulfilling, it wasn't nurturing me, it wasn't nourishing me like properly, deeply. And I was like, right, no, fuck it, like, there's a problem here, like, what's the solution to it? There has to be a solution. What's the solution? Okay, well, I'm gonna learn about myself, I'm gonna learn about what makes me feel good and what makes me feel bad, and I'm gonna avoid what makes me feel bad. And over time, you'll end up coming up with the routine that works for you. And, you know, hopefully today will have given everyone a little bit of a hand in achieving that.
I think that the important thing to remember in 2020, the reason that you're not doing what you want to do, it cannot be lack of information. Like what Chris is saying, that you've got so much opportunity there's people putting out tons and tons and tons of stuff that you can research and learn about yourself. So it's never going to be a lack of information thing. The information is out there. That's no longer an excuse. If this was 1920, I would say, there's probably not enough literature out there to support all the different things that you wanted to do. However, now there's so much out there. There's an abundance of stuff, and it's just about going out and figuring out what works best for you and trying different things, taking little things from different people. But don't be afraid to, if you don't want to take certain aspects, leave them.
Yeah, you can like what Aubrey Marcus says about training or about morning routines, but not be polyamorous. Or you can like the fact that Gary Vee talks about getting up and doing the hustle and grind, but not be on TikTok every day. You know what I mean? Like you can take things piecemeal. I just want to touch on something you said there about the abundance thing. Naval Ravikant's got another quote where he says, all of our problems in the modern era are problems of abundance, not problems of scarcity. So 200 years ago, there would have been an issue of have I got enough food, water, shelter, bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Whereas now there's too much stimulus, there's too much food, there's too much shelter, there's too much convenience. And to try and cut through that noise, I think just doing something. So what did we say before? Like focus on just doing something. Because you can sit and go, what's the best meditation app? And think about the best meditation app for months. There'll be someone out there that's listening who's wanted to do meditation and has maybe got Calm, Headspace, Waking Up and something else downloaded.
Too many good options.
Yeah, and you're like, right, okay, well just do one, just choose what it's going to be and commit to it for a month, and there you go, you've broken through that inertia. There's that little hump that you got to get over, and as soon as you've started doing it, there you go.
There's people who won't post a picture on Instagram, get content out, because they've took 40 pictures and there's 6 good ones, and they don't know which one to post. Abundance is, it's definitely too much.
The weird thing about procrastination there is, the reason that we procrastinate, the reason that we don't start to do stuff is that we've got a fear of failing, but by not doing anything, we guarantee failure. Make sense?
Yeah.
Like, you are inoculating yourself from the potential of public failure whilst absolutely certifying the fact that privately you're going to achieve nothing.
That is true. This is honestly so insightful. I'm actually selfishly contemplating not putting this out and just keeping this for all the personal records. Small time. Fuck everybody else. I'm going to the top.
Private link.
Yeah,
man. Well, again, to sort of speak to the fact that I enjoy talking about this sort of stuff. That's because I found something that I've got an interest in and I've worked at it. I've done 300 hours plus of these conversations in the last 2 years. Like, I've not done 300 hours of anything new in a very, very long time. Like maybe training, but even that, it's just a different flavour of what I used to do before. Like, find your passion, find the thing that you enjoy, and if someone's struggling for that, again, another heuristic. I just feel like I'm fucking unloading old podcast stuff here, but what did you do between the age of 8 and 14, like for fun? What were the things that you were into? So for me, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. What's a podcast now if it's not a modern day audiobook? Like, I'm creating my own audiobooks, and I never realised there's this lady who was one of the best colour pickers on the planet. So she would create these colour wheels for big interior design companies or for like haute couture, real expensive clothing companies and stuff like that. And she would match amazing different colour palettes and stuff and give them to them, and they would work off of these palettes. And I remember there was this interview with this lady, and she said, so what's your experience like? Talk about your qualifications. Why are you so good at what you do? And she was like, oh, well, I don't really actually have any formal qualifications, but when I was 10 years old, my grandma bought me the biggest Crayola set that's available, and I just played with colours for hours and hours and hours as a kid. And you're like, this woman's now like the #1 colour picker on the planet.
Do you know what I realised? That irregardless, and it could be literally anything, if you love something and you're passionate about it, that is what you should do. Because if you get good enough, if you love it enough to do it more than anybody else, you will become the best at it. And irregardless of what it is, someone will then pay you to do it. Because if you're the best at something, someone will pay you to do it. I read about a guy who literally his passion was climbing trees, and obviously that was what he did when he was a kid, loved climbing trees. No adult in a million years would go, that sounds like a good career path. Now, he's one of the leading scientists. He discovers new species of plants and trees in the Amazon rainforest. He climbs the trees and discovers new. That is literally his job. He took what he loved to do and he became the best at it, and now he gets paid for it. that's it. And if you can do that, like what you're doing here, there's probably other things that I actually had a conversation with somebody yesterday about how I know I could make more money just going back to personal training full time, but it's not what I wanted to. It's not what I want to do. I didn't love it as much as I love helping other people, because for me, if I can train 20 PT clients, that's amazing. But if I can train 20 PTs to all help 20 clients, that for me feels more fulfilling, because I've got a wider scope of people that I'm helping, whether it be directly or indirectly. And he's just saying, but he would do something that he didn't love, but it paid twice as much. But I just know that I'll be able to do this for the next 4 years, whereas if I didn't love it, I wouldn't. And I think it's almost like like time served in the game as well. You've obviously, your podcast's been going for 2 years now, and you showed me the graph. I don't know if we can put that graph on this video. Bing. Is that how it works? Yeah. Zoom. Okay, you can cut that bit. And okay, so that shows, like, at first it doesn't. It's like a snowball effect, and you
compounding gains, man.
Yeah.
There's another graph that I'll send to Aaron, which will appear here, and that is what happens if you improve yourself by 1% every day, and the difference is if you decrease by 1% every day. If you improve yourself by 1% every day, you are 38 times better by the end of the year. Whereas if you decrease by 1% every day, you're 1/100th of the person that you were when you started. Like, it's really, really fucking terrifying. But yeah, man, you know, the final excuse that I can hear someone here that's listening saying to themselves is, yeah, mate, it's all well and good, but I've got a family to support. I've got like genuine things that I need to do. I can't just swan off and start making a YouTube channel. I've got to go to work. I'm a driver. I'm a parent. I'm a whatever it might be. It's like, okay, cool. Is there something that you can do now for half an hour which moves you closer towards a goal that you genuinely care about? Almost definitely, yeah. No one that is listening's day is so busy that they can't spare half an hour once a week. So do that. Like, go and do that. Spend half an hour. Okay, how does it feel to pick up a guitar? To go to an open community guitar lesson thing? I've always wanted to play the guitar. I've always wanted to learn how to act. I've always wanted to do yoga. I've always wanted to do whatever it might be. Photography. You've got a fucking iPhone in your pocket, like, which is better than what Aaron shoots on anyway. So, like, go and take some photos. You do whatever it is that you want to do. Like, you can do it. And if you might go and you think, I really want to do photography. And after a little bit of time, the reality of photography, sourcing locations, trying to maybe find models, trying to do all this stuff, you're like, actually, photography is a bit shit. Brilliant. Fuck it off. Do something else. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you will not know unless you try. And it's that procrastination thing again as well. We're terrified of failing, but by procrastinating, we inoculate ourselves from any chance of failing publicly, so it means that we guarantee our sense of failing privately. There you go.
Yeah, can we get that quote in the office? With Chris's face behind it. That
Got
one.
it.
I'm gonna use the book cover. You think I forgot about that? That is honestly, that's a good one, you know. That was my screensaver for a while.
What book is this? I bet you
I've been on a few, mate.
Was it like an American book that you were?
It's dark romance. It's like fucked up 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Did you read it? Did you read the book?
No, I gave it to my mum. Bad idea.
Amazing.
Bad idea. I was like, Mum, this isn't like Harry Potter. What are you reading this book for? But she did it anyway. So didn't speak to her about it after that.
No. We'll leave that bit in. So wrapping things up, thank you so much for coming in. You were answering the next question that I had in your answer. I feel like I've learned so much, and I hope everybody else has learned loads from that as well. If you guys like that, please go and subscribe to Chris's podcast. There's obviously other people on there as well that are kind of bringing a different perspective to things. So definitely check that out, because if it's anything like this, there's just so much to be learned, and it's only an hour a week.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you, appreciate it.